Johhny Croy and his Mermaid Bride. Long ago, Johhny Croy of Volyar was the bravest, boldest, and bonniest man in all of Orkney. Many a fair lass cast a longing glance towards Johhny, but never a one did he care for. Now it happened that one day that Johhny went to seek driftwood on the shore at the west side of Sanday. The tide was well out, and he was threading his way through the big boulders under the crags. Suddenly he heard the most lovely voice, singing a strange, sweet tune. For a moment he stood dumbfounded with the beauty of the music. It came from the other side of a big point of the crag, and when Johhny peeped around it, he saw a wonderful sight. On a weed-covered rock sat a mermaid, combing her long hair. Like brightest gold it shone, and flowed down over her white shoulders like the sunshine over snow. A silvery, glistening petticoat hung down from her waist, the train of it folded together, so that it lay behind her, like the tail of a fish. And all the while she combed, she sang her bewitching song. Johhny Croy was overcome with love for this beautiful creature. She sat with her back to the sea, and he got down and crept quietly among the boulders to get between her and the water. Every glance he cast at her made his heart burn all the more. Quietly he crept up, coming within a few feet of her. She combed, and she sang. Then Johhny sprang forward, threw his arms around her, and kissed her. She leaped to her feet, for two pretty white feet were under the silvery petticoats, and gave Johhny such a wallop that he was thrown flat on the rocks. Gathering her shimmering train over her arm, she ran down to the sea. As Johhny scrambled to his feet, he spied the sea maid's golden comb on the sand. She was out in the water now, staring at him with all her eyes, angry being so rudely kissed, yet with love growing fast in her heart. She knew well that only if she could take a mortal lover could she keep her youth and beauty. Johhny held up the golden comb and cried, "Thanks to thee, my bonny lass, for this love token." The mermaid gave a bitter cry. "Alas, alas, my golden comb! Oh, give me back my comb! To lose it will shame me before all my people. Oh, give me back my golden comb!" "Oh no, my sweet," says Johhny. "Come you and live on land with me, for never can I love another now." "Not so," replied the mermaid. "I cannot live in your cold land. I cannot bide your black rain and your white snow, and your hot sun and smoky fires would wizen me up in a week. Come with me, my bonny lad. I'll make you a chief among the Finn folk. Come away with me." "Oh no," said Johhny. "You cannot entice me. I was not born yesterday. But come to my stately house at Volyar. There I have plenty of gear. I have cows and sheep. I will make you mistress of all my store. Never shall you want for what I can give you." The mermaid shook her head. "Come, come now with me, my bonny man. I will set you in a crystal palace under the sea. There the sunbeams never blind, and the winds do not blow, and the raindrops never fall. Oh, come away with me, and be my love, and we shall both be happy as the day is long." "It is for the lass to follow the lad," said Johhny Croy. "Just come away, and bide with me, my darling Jem de Lovely." So there they stood, each tempting the other, and the longer they gazed, the better they loved. But at last Jem de Lovely saw folk coming far away. Bidding Johhny farewell, she swam out to sea, singing mournfully, "Alas, alas, my golden comb! Alas, my bonny man!" Johhny watched her go, her golden locks shining over her white shoulders like sunbeams glinting over sea foam. Then he went home with a sore heart, but carrying the treasured golden comb. His mother was a spaewife, a wise woman, and Johhny told her his tale, and asked her advice. "Great fool that you are," said his mother sharply, "to fall in love with a sea maid when any land lass would be glad of you. But men will be fools the world over. To bring this sea wife to you, you must keep her comb well hidden. It is her dearest treasure. Keep it, and you have power over her. Be wise, my son. Take my advice. Cast the comb into the sea and forget her. The folk of the sea are not of God's people." But Johhny Croy could not do that. "Then," said Granny Croy, She may make a bright summer for you, but it will end in a woeful winter. I have seen that you will ride your own road, though you sink into the quagmire at its end. Only one I can save. I would it were you, my son, but what will be, will be." Well, Johhny went about his work like one bewitched, thinking all the while of his gender lovely, and the cautionary words of his mother, but he put the comb up safely for all that. Then there came a night when he could not sleep for thinking of his lost love. Towards morning he dozed, and at daybreak was wakened by beautiful music. He lay a while, as if enchanted. It was the voice he had last heard at the shore. Opening his eyes, he saw that Gender Lovely was sitting at the foot of his bed, the most beautiful being that ever gladdened a man's eyes. Her face was so fair, her hair so gleaming, and her dress so splendid that Johhny took her for a vision, and tried to say a prayer, but never a word of prayer came to his lips. "My bonny man," said the mermaid, "I'm come to ask you again for my golden comb. I'm come to see if you will live with me in my crystal palace under the waves." "No," said Johhny, "no, that I cannot do. But unless you bide with me now and be my loving wife, my heart will surely break." "I will make you a fair offer," said Gender Lovely. "I will be your wife. I will live here with you for 7 years. If you swear you will come with me and all that's mine, to see my own folk at the end of that time." At that Johhny jumped out of bed, fell on his knees before her, and swore to keep the bargain. And so they were married. Gender Lovely shivered and shook as they came to the kirk, and stuffed her hair in her ears as the priest prayed. But folk soon forgot that, for a bonnier bride was never seen in Orkney. Her face was as lovely as the dawn, her dress shone with silver and gold, and every pearl in her necklace was as big as a cockle shell. Gender Lovely was a frugal, loving wife to Johhny Croy. She baked the best bread in the island, and brewed the strongest ale. She was the best spinner in all the countryside, and for 7 years everything at Volyar was in good order. The sheep and cattle thrived, and the barns were full. All things went merry as a Yuletide from one year to the next. But all good things must end, and the 7 year drew to a close. Then you may believe there was a stir in making ready for a long sea voyage. Johhny said little, but he thought much. Gender Lovely was brisk and busy, and wore a far-away look. By now the pair had 7 bonny bairns, all as strong and well-favoured as their parents. Each of them, in turn, had been weaned in Granny Croy's little house, and she now had the youngest, sleeping in her own room. And what do you think Granny Croy did on the eve of the day when the 7 years ended? She rose in the midnight, blew up the ashes in the fire, she made a cross of wire, and heated it red-hot in the glowing embers. Then she laid the red-hot cross on the bare seat of the babe, who squeaked like a demon all the while. In the morning, when they were fully equipped, Gender Lovely walked down to the boat, and she was a picture. Stately and splendid as a queen in her shining dress, with the great pearls gleaming on her neck, she came to the beach. That was her goodman, Johhny Croy, with her 6 eldest bairns. But there was also Granny Croy, sitting on a stone, with the tear in her eye. Gender Lovely sent the servants up to Granny Croy's little house, to bring the 7th bairn down in his cradle. Back they came, telling her that the 4 of them could not budge it 1 inch. A cloud came over her beautiful face. She ran up to the house and tried to move the cradle. Not an inch would it budge. She flung back the blanket to lift the babe out in her arms, but the moment she touched him she felt a dreadful burning and started back with a wild scream. Down to the beach she ran, her head hanging and the tears streaming from her blue eyes. All the while Granny Croy sat on the stone with tears on her cheek and a half-smile on her lips. As the boat pushed off they heard Gender Lovely lamenting sore, "Alas, alas for my bonny boy! Alas that I must leave one to live and die on dry land." The wind blew, the sail filled, and the boat turned to the west, and swiftly disappeared. Johhny Croy and his fair wife and their 6 eldest bairns in here never more seen in Orkney. But Granny Croy nursed up the babe that was left, and named him Croy, Croy of the Cross. He grew up to be the bravest, the boldest and bonniest man in the islands. When his grandmother died, Croy took to the sword. Far over the seas he went on to fight a crusade against the pagans in the Holy Land, and men said that enemies fell before his blade like thistles to the reaping hook. Courser Croy became rich and famous. He married a great Jarl's daughter, and settled in the south country. He and his wife had many bairns, and a long life and happiness, for the descendants of sea folk are always handsome and lucky.